errata sheets together with the draft make up the draft general plan. So as you're looking through, for instance, section 3, keep in mind the changes in the errata sheets 1 and 2 that might affect that. So let's go briefly through the plan. The introduction contains an overview of the county. It talks a little bit about the history of Mendocino County, how we got to modern-day Mendocino County from its early beginnings. It talks about some of the issues that are present in the county, and again, keeping in mind that one of the purposes of doing the update was to deal with modern issues that are being faced today. We went ahead and explained what those were. So as you're reading through the rest of the plan, you can get an idea of where the goals and policies came from. There's a statement on state requirements, things that have to be in the plan, just so that the reader knows that we're aware of what needs to be in the plan. And there's some notes in there on how to use the plan, how to interpret some kinds of terms, how to tell what actually is a policy and what is just narrative, and so on, to make the plan easier to use, both for us today and for the folks 5 or 10 years from now who are using this. It'll be very clear to them as they go through the plan what is a policy and so on. The next section, Chapter 2, is called Planning Principles, and these are kind of the big picture ideas that the general plan is based on. These have the effect of policy, so they are basically policy statements, but these are the big picture ideas, and they deal with these topics here: planning, economic development, and jobs housing, and coordination, partnerships, and funding. So as you go through, those are kind of the super goals that control the rest of the general plan. Then we get into two elements, and we did have a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission about what these should be called. As you recall, the board has talked about the outline of the plan several times as well. Development is one, deals mostly with the man-made environment. The land use map is in the development element, and so on. The other element is resource management, which deals mostly with the natural environment. So it seemed like a natural dividing point to split into two elements that way. In the development element, you're going to find policies that deal with these issues up here: land use, community character, which includes things like noise, things like design, infrastructure, utilities, transportation is in this section. The circulation map will be placed in here after we've had a chance to do our circulation analysis and work with our traffic consultant on that. Parks are addressed in this element. Water supply and sewer. Water as a resource, in other words, water supply, water quality is in the resource management element as more of a resource issue. And then safety, police and fire, geology, etc. are all in this element as well. Some of the new and updated things that are in the development element, one again is mixed land uses, and that mixed land use designation, which basically builds off what's been done for the Ukiah Valley Area Plan. So you'll see it's a very similar designation. There's a new tribal lands designation, and Diana Hershey from the planning team is here if you have any more specific questions about that. It allows the tribes to do some things that they can't do now, and facilitates some of the development that they want to do while also protecting the county's interests. There are improved noise standards compared to what your current plan has, more detailed criteria about acceptable noise levels and how to measure them, how to implement that. And then various policies emphasizing energy efficiency, alternative transportation, etc. As you recall, the Energy Working Group produced a quite lengthy set of policy recommendations. The Planning Commission looked at those in detail over several meetings and incorporated a large number of those, which are now in this plan. So, and that's all things that are new from your current draft. And that's all consistent with the overall direction, but those are some changes from your current general plan. The resource management element, again, is a second of the two major elements of the plan. Again, looking mostly at the natural environment and those kinds of resource issues. The first topic in there is water, and that was something that you directed us to do, which we have done. The first section that you'll see when you go into the resource management element is called water. So you can find that. It's broken down into several sections. Water resource, water in terms of watersheds and so on, water supply and water quality, biology and ecology and how we deal with those issues, the natural environment, the plants and animals of Mendocino County are in this element, energy is addressed in this element, and then a category that we call natural and rural landscapes, which talks about agriculture and the county's policies with regard to that, forest resources, and open space. Some of the major changes in this element, again, is the section on water. And as Allison mentioned, you've spent a lot of time on that issue, going through all those policies. So the policies that you directed us to put in the plan, you'll see in here in Section 4. Climate change and greenhouse gas, that is one of those new issues that wasn't around in 1981. It probably was, we just didn't know it, but now that we know about it, we're dealing with it. And you'll see policies in this section that deal with that. Energy policies, again, including a lot of great ideas from the Energy Working Group, are in this element now. And also something called dark sky, which is related to energy management, but just talks about conserving energy and preserving the nighttime view that you can see in the mostly rural areas of Mendocino County. That's something that's being done by cities and counties all across the state now. It's a simple idea, but it's a really good one that the Planning Commission wanted to see in here. The next section of the plan, as I mentioned, housing element is not being updated right now. Staff's currently working on a number of things related to the update that's going to happen next year. An inclusionary housing ordinance is being prepared. A farm worker housing survey is being done. And staff is working on looking at designating more land or zoning more land for multifamily housing, which is something that helps you meet your affordable housing and workforce housing mandates. Community policies, which is Section 6, is a new element. There are policies for 8 community areas in here now. Anderson Valley policies, as Allison mentioned, have been discussed in depth at several meetings out in Boonville, most recently just a week ago today. So those 8 areas are Anderson Valley, Covelo, Fort Bragg, the area outside the city, Hopland, Laytonville, Potter Valley, Redwood Valley, and Willits, and again the area outside of the city of Willits. Each of those community sections has a number of features in it. One is just an introduction and description of what that area is all about, some of the key features of it, some of the things that are worthy of preservation, some of the things that are worthy of being changed or updated. You'll see goals and policies. And the introduction for the Anderson Valley section was written in large part by the community out there, and we appreciate their work, so we've incorporated much of their verbiage into the plan now. There are goals, policies, and actions that are specific to each area. Basically, the entire general plan affects each of these areas, but then where a special issue was present in one of those areas that needed a policy, needed an action, it was included in this section here. We do have a new photo for Laytonville. It's a pleasure definitely working in a place like Mendocino County where it's hard not to take a scenic picture of something. Somehow I think we managed to do that with the picture of Laytonville that was in the draft dated on the 21st. So Diana Hershey quickly went out and took a much better picture than what we had. So we're suggesting that you replace this. And that really concludes my very brief overview. As I said, we're happy to go through any of these policies or explain in more depth some of the changes that have been made. You do have a calendar in front of you that has most of these dates on it. As Allison mentioned, this is not a public hearing on the plan. We're certainly open to taking comments on it today. There will be a number of more formal times, both for the draft environmental impact report and for the plan, for the public to come and speak and make comments. There will be public hearings at the Planning Commission, which, as you know, must make a recommendation to you before you can take action on the plan. That's all going to happen in a few months. And